Morning everyone, it's the 25th of January 2021. Happy New Year! It's the first video I filmed this year and yeah, I hope everyone is doing alright. We are currently in lockdown number 3 here in the UK, or at least in England. You know, December's passed. One thing that I never did before in my life was taking down a Christmas tree very soon into the new year. I just couldn't deal with having it around and sort of reminding me of how I was supposed to be feeling and so on. But anyway, moving on. I worked a 7-day week last week, so I have today and tomorrow off. As you've seen, yesterday we had snow, and if I look outside I can just see a very sad snowman that has melted and is still melting as some seagulls sort of hang around. I think he actually had blueberries for eyes and a carrot as a nose. It was quite big. So that's what I see outside the window right now. The plan for today is to get outside as much as possible because, as I've just shown you, the sky is very clear. And yes, it is really cold. I think it's -1 today. I have a medical appointment this afternoon / evening, so I cannot go for the longest of walks, but I live a couple of miles away from Dulwich Village, which is quite nice, and there is a bakery which I really love. So I'm hoping they're open for takeaways so I can buy some biscuits, because they make this amazing reverse chocolate chunk biscuits. I think if I don't manage to buy one and show you, I'll put an image on the screen now, because they are fabulous. And if you live next to a Gale's bakery and have the chance to walk there, I would definitely recommend going. In terms of the rest of the vlog, I've been in a bit of a reading slump. I find that I feel like Donna Tartt's The Little Friend sort of, I don't know, crushed a little bit my reading habits. I was really slow at reading a book. Also there was the physical factor that I wasn't feeling 100%. I still am not feeling 100%. I cannot read for particularly long periods of time. So that sort of put me in a reading slump. After that, you've seen I started the Starless Sea, and I feel like I was expecting something very similar to The Night Circus, but the more I progressed into the book, the more, I don't want to say I get disappointed, but it's not quite the same, obviously, but it's also not giving me those nice images in my head. It feels very much like rushed, and I don't care about any of the characters. So to get out of this reading slump, because I don't know, whenever I pick up the Starless Sea, I just read about 10 pages and I'm like, done. The book club pick for next month, for February, is Visitation by Jenny Erpenbeck. It's a German book and it's been translated by Susan Bernowski into English. I read just about 20 pages, yeah, literally 20 pages yesterday as I was in the bath. It's very interesting. I don't know much about this book. I just know that it's sort of set in Germany near Brandenburg, and it revolves around this sort of property that is built on this land, and the land has a lot of history. The chapters are really short and they have this sort of almost dream-like quality to them, because they are, you can read a chapter and put the book away and read the following chapter, and they don't necessarily have a link between them, with the exception of the piece of land. I'm really enjoying it. It brings back some memories of Till in terms of narration, in terms of having that, especially the initial chapters, which are set further back in time. You really feel this sort of almost fable-like description of characters and events and feelings, which is quite pleasant, and I think it's deeply rooted in German tradition, Central European tradition, so that's very pleasant to read. But yeah, I had never heard of this book until somebody in the book club recommended it, and I was like, yeah, sounds absolutely up my street. One thing I didn't realise, that it's just 130 pages, 150 pages, precisely 150 pages. So it's a perfect book to read today and tomorrow, finish it tomorrow, and get over this reading slump, read the first book of the year, and hopefully either go back into a Starless Sea or pick up a different book. Good evening. It's many hours later. the walk today was fabulous. It was so good. We ended up walking 7 kilometers, something like that. Just because the weather was incredibly cold. I think the perceived temperature was -1 or -2, but in reality it was 0 degrees or 1 degree. I think at one point I looked at the app and it said 2 degrees, but that's about it. It was really cold, and yeah, it was really pleasant. Obviously I didn't feel much because my hands were about to fall off, and I had the dog plus a little bag with some goodies from the bakery. I bought some, they have this beautiful thing called tahini bites, and I think it's dark chocolate, sesame and tahini paste, and they make them into this tiny little bite-size sort of dessert, which is quite delicious. I bought a bag of 5, they're really tiny, and now it's 8 p.m. they've already finished. I did get some reading done. I read a little bit more of Visitation. I was hoping to be somewhere like halfway through the book at this point, but I did have a busy afternoon. It's actually very intriguing. As I mentioned, the language itself is very fascinating. It has something that almost feels like a dream or a fable. Is very beautiful in terms of writing style. It's also it's focused on telling rather than showing, which in many cases doesn't work, but in the case of this specific book works quite well, because as I said, when you dream rather than showing, you sort of tell your brain what's happening. It makes more sense in my head probably than what I'm actually conveying through this mini review. We have been introduced to the character of the architect, which, as I mentioned I think in the previous clip, is a little bit more connected to the most recent history of the house. One thing that confuses me is that within chapters that are already quite short, I think the longest one so far was probably 5 pages, so the chapters themselves are quite short, but within those chapters where we focus on just one character or that character in relation to the immediate characters that deal with him or her, we see a lot of jumping around in terms of timelines. So you think you are reading something that is happening maybe during the Second World War, and immediately in the following sentence you read something that is happening maybe in the First World War, or the reverse, like you think you're reading about the Second World War and actually you're reading something about the Cold War. So that's a little bit confusing, but it's confusing in a pleasant way, as in the book really asks you to, so far at least, I feel like the book is asking to take it as it comes, and obviously every sentence works on its own, because every sentence adds a little bit of, imagine the story as a puzzle, and each little sentence that is within the book is a little tassel of the puzzle. And then I know that sometimes you can find one corner of the puzzle, and sometimes you can find a frame, and sometimes it's just something random in the middle. And I think this is exactly what this book is doing so far. So I'm really intrigued by this, and I can't wait to read more. I'm a little bit shattered. I think today in total I walked quite a lot. Basically 18,000 steps. Ooh. So I'm going to do slightly a bit more reading, and then I have a chat on Skype in about 10 minutes with my family, and then I'm going to make pasta with cherry tomatoes, and I think we're going to call it a night. Right, good morning everyone. My tripod is not here, well, it's in the other room, but Andrew is recording class, so I'm not going in that room just to grab a tripod and also the microphone. I'm also running a little bit late, well not yet, but since it's not raining, and that seems to be a common thread in this vlog, I've decided to make the most of it and go for a long walk. So I'm going to walk all the way to London Bridge, and then at London Bridge I am going to meet, socially distance with masks and everything, a friend who's recently moved back to the UK. What we're going to do, since walking outside for a long time counts as exercise, we're going to do our daily exercise together at a 2-meter distance, wearing our masks, and that is going to count towards our government allowed exercise, but at the same time hopefully we'll be able to, you know, even just seeing her face after, I think last time I saw her was I'm gonna say January 2020. I'm really hoping that it's Tuesday morning, so the area of the sat bank, the reason why we picked it is because it's open air, it's quite large, so we can be socially distanced but at the same time walk on the same path. And honestly, it's quite touristy, so hopefully it's not busy, because why would a tourist come to London right now? I really wouldn't recommend it. But anyway, I need to crack on because otherwise I'll never make it there on time. But I'll take you along and I'll film what I can film. I don't think I'll film my friend because I don't know whether she wants to be on camera or not. But I'll take you along and show you what I can. Good afternoon from me and my dog, who's very interested in something else. I just got home. I didn't want to vlog much when I was out, mostly because obviously we had our masks on and it's quite cold, so I had 100 layers on, so it wouldn't have been particularly easy or pleasant to watch anyway. But yeah, I'm now home. I walked, I think, around 15 kilometers today, so I had a good day of exercise. And I did end up catching public transport for a part of the journey back, just because my legs were just giving up on me. And on that part of the commute back, I read some more of Visitation, and it's actually really nice. I stand by what I said yesterday about the book feeling very much dreamlike in terms of narration. And I think I also mentioned something about the timeline that keeps jumping back and forth in time. Obviously each individual covered in the story has a very different sort of timeline, just because of the background of the characters that are being covered in each chapter. So I just read one that was about the cloth making family, this family of Jewish people that obviously lived in Germany before and during the Second World War, and it's quite touching to see. It was probably the most touching chapter I've read so far of this book. It wasn't explicit in any way, it wasn't gruesome in any way, but the way it was described was very realistic, and in just a couple of sentences it basically explained how almost an entire family went from being a nice family that was about to move to South Africa to being completely obliterated by the Holocaust. So that was quite touching to read. I think now is going to move to characters that are related more to the house in the years of the Second World War. So I do wonder whether we're going to see more of the architect, because I think he has a connection with the Reich. And I wonder what the connection of the gardener, which is this sort of figure that moves throughout the year, because we see the figure of the gardener early on when there is the family of the mayor, and then also when the land is split between the three buyers. So I do wonder what's the story, if we'll ever find out, but I'm really enjoying it, and the writing style is something absolutely fantastic. Kudos to Susan Bernofsky, who did the translation for this, because it's beautiful. I do have quite a lot to do this evening, well, this afternoon really. I need to sort out my planner, but most importantly I have a submission for a written piece that I need to send by the 1st of February, but obviously I want to do it today because I'm off work. So I'll do some more reading, and then once I've regained a little bit of strength in my legs and in my brain, then I'll move on to something a little bit more actively creative, like writing. But I'll keep you posted. There. She's the sweetest. It's a few hours later, and I do have to admit I crashed a bit. As usual, whenever I do this sort of weekend, not really on a weekend sort of vlogs, I had one of those moments in which I completely crashed. I feel like I've said this before, so it's not news to anyone, but after 7 days of working full time, you then have those 2 days, and I try to cram in as much as possible. And I think this weekend, which is Monday and Tuesday, I sort of pushed myself even more. Like, I looked at my step counting app, and I think I walked nearly 30 kilometers in 2 days, just because there was the added factor of no rain, which has been, you know, rain has been on the menu for us for days and days and days and weeks. So I felt like I had to enjoy those days so much. And also I had a chance to, you know, get out and get some fresh air, which obviously in winter time, especially this year, you really don't get the chance to do much. God, boy, I look tired and I need a shower. But yeah, I did read a little bit more of the book. I'm nearly halfway through and I am really enjoying it. Nothing has changed in terms of narration. It's still very unique in a way, and I think I must have mentioned this yesterday, but it reminds me a little bit of Till in terms of narration. I do wonder whether that's some sort of German style of, you know, telling a story, which is very much fable-like. You definitely, you read the story as if you were this sort of godlike figure, almost looking down on the characters, which is something that not many books have, not many contemporary books seem to have, even though they might have this sort of third-person perspective. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. I think the concept of house, which is repeated on nearly every page, and obviously is probably the link that connects all the characters, and it's probably going to evolve into a bit of a more concrete sort of storyline, also translates into the concept of family and belonging, because the house is not just the physical place of the house or the land or the lake, but it's also the concept of belonging to a certain place, and that place can be a place in society, a place within the family, or a place within the word. So I think that's what the author is trying to do, like the house as a symbol of place in society, family, word, which is really interesting. And I really like, the more I read it in English, the more I sort of want to pick up the German version and see how much I can actually understand, because I would love to read the original for this book. I think the job of the translator is so hard, and I think she's done a fantastic job because it's so evocative regardless of the fact that it's a work of translation. But I do wonder whether something has been lost in translation, because it's so, I don't know, the language is just so unique. I do think if you're more interested in the plot than in the narration itself, or, you know, in the introspective journey of individual characters, then this book is definitely not for you, because there is no plot happening so far. It's all very introspective. It's all very much descriptive of what goes on within the characters, and then there is the sort of story that they have in the word, in history, that follows. But the key thing is the introspective part of whatever is happening with them. What I think is going to happen now, Andrew's taking a bath, so I am going to read a little bit more because I've regained a little bit of energy. I bought this at the shop earlier because I had to buy toilet paper. How very exciting. But these are typical Italian biscuits. They're not everyday biscuits, they're sort of like a special kind of biscuit. And the cute thing is that now they sell them in these packets, but back when I was a kid you would not be able to find them in the... Oh, hello. Look who's... Okay, just have a drink. Your face is wet. Come here. Oh, hello. Come here. Come here. Good job. As I was saying, you could not find these packets back when I was a kid. The only way you could buy these biscuits was by buying, it was sort of like a little paper tray, and within the paper tray you would have, it was either 6 or 8 packets of 6 biscuits, and each biscuit looks like this. So it's this sort of like, it's not shortbread, but it's a, you know, egg and butter cookie, and in between it has this very creamy hazelnut and cocoa spread. Don't imagine Nutella, it's very, very hazelnutty, and it's delicious. And my dad used to pack it in my school backpack as my, you know, snack for school, because in Italy we don't have lunch at school, we just have a little snack for like 10-15 minutes in between the day, and then we go back to class. And yeah, that always reminds me of my dad when I was a kid, and they are delicious. But I had one and it sort of gave me a little bit of energy, perked up and all that. Poppy, you're very interesting. Her face is covered in water. I think she just had a drink, but look at this. But yeah, so I might have another biscuit. I'm going to read a little bit more, but I think I'm definitely not going to finish this today, because I mean, I spent the day walking, I spent the weekend walking, and I do not regret it a single bit. It was wonderful, it was safe, and I got some fresh air. My legs hurt, but you know what, it's okay. Hello, it's Friday. I look like an egg, and you might not be able to hear me because I'm in the bathroom. I'm just getting ready to run myself a bath, but I'm exhausted. What's new over there? No, it's been a very emotionally and physically draining week. Let's talk about visitation. Since the last clip that I filmed here, which I think was on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I don't know, I haven't read a single page. As I said, I've been completely drained. So now the plan is to take a bath and read a little bit more. I don't have a specific goal. It'd be nice to get to page 100, so get to here, just because that means, you know, I'm 2/3 of the way through, and then the next 50 pages can be read in another go. But that's about it. I don't really have a plan. I'm very can barely believe I've been doing this live for the past year, and I feel like now it's really getting to me. January and February are really hot months for a lot of people, me included. I find it really hard to sort of motivate myself to do things. The way that I am able to move forward during this month is usually by booking holidays, either for February or for March. So usually we always have something planned. Last year we were supposed to go to Sweden to see Green Day. That obviously couldn't happen because of coronavirus, and I was really hoping that by now we were in a position to be able to take a little bit of a break. I will take a bath now. I have beautiful, it's not in this room, you will see it later in the water. I have a nice bath bomb that I bought with a voucher that Andrew gave me for Lush for Christmas. It was in my stocking, which was really thoughtful of him. So I bought a body scrub and 2 bath bombs. So I was talking about the bath bomb kind of thing, which is not a bath bomb, but this is the one. In terms of stuff on my hair, which obviously needs to be washed right now, this is what I use. I love this product. It's really expensive, but it's worth it, and if you manage to find a 1 litre one, it's definitely worth the price. But this is the Davines Love Curl shampoo, and it's made in Italy. I think next time I go I'm gonna try buy it from there because it might be cheaper. And the conditioner of the same brand. Obviously I use much less conditioner than I use shampoo, so I don't need that much. This is the shower scrub that I bought with the rest of the voucher that Andrew gave me. And then going back to the hair, hello, that's me again. But then I make a concoction of these 2 products. So the 2 products are the sort of like leave-in conditioner, also from same brand, same line. It's also from the Love line. And then this is also some sort of leave-in kind of paste. It's a curl building serum. I use, say, like a pea-size amount of this and half the amount of this one, and then the curls feel really nice. Oh, can we also talk about something I'm excited about? So I am lucky enough to be one of those people who's not hairy at all, But every now and again I decide to shave because, you know, every now and again I do grow hair. And I just ordered myself a new razor because the issue that I find is that I use a razor and then I don't use it for so long because my hair doesn't grow, that I end up throwing it away because it gets all rusty. Instead, this one is a reusable body made out of metal, I think, and then the blades come in the mail whenever you need them. So I bought the starter kit, which is this blade plus another one, so that should last me a couple of months really. And then I opted for a subscription that sends me blades, sends me 4 blades every 3 months, so that should be definitely good enough, because I shave roughly once a month because my legs and the rest of my body doesn't really grow hair. I have the same thing with my eyebrows, like I can go months without having them done. But yeah, this is from Estrid. This is very cute. I saw it all over Instagram, to be honest, and I was really jealous of Andrew's reusable, oh, you can't see them, Andrew's reusable razors, so I was like, okay, I'll get myself one. Hello again. If you see my face being really shiny, it's because I'm covered in moisturizer in the hope that my skin will not get as dry as it's been over the past few days. I read some more of Visitation, and there is this one chapter that I just read. After that I had to stop reading for a bit because it was just getting so much. I mentioned before that this touches upon the lives of various families and various individuals within those families that lived on the same piece of land over the years of the First, Second and Cold War in Germany, in Brandenburg. And during the Second World War, just before actually, one piece of land is sold by this Jewish family that had one third of the land to the architect, which we've met earlier in the story. And then the Jewish family is also separated because of various reasons, and as I said, part of the family is exterminated. But in this chapter I just read, we followed the story of the youngest member of the family to be killed in a concentration camp, and it was just such a hard... I can't even look at the camera just because my eyes are going a bit watery, but it was just very powerful. And again, the style in which it's written is so evocative, even though there is no dialogue. It's very introspective in a way, but at the same time it's in third person, so it's something quite unique, something that you don't read every day. And it has this sort of, I mentioned this countless times in this vlog, but very dream-like sort of quality to it. And as I mentioned, this chapter specifically was from the perspective of a 12-year-old girl, and it was quite strong. It was very strong to read. I think that's it for today, because I don't want to go to bed and have nightmares thinking about all these horrible events that unfortunately touched the lives of so many people over the years. But since I don't want to end this clip on a sad note, I'll show you my beautiful dog right now. Poppy. Poppy, you need to get up. You need to get up. She's pretending to be asleep, but she's obviously awake. Poppy, look at the eye. I can see you're moving your eyes. Are you asleep? Okay, Poppy's asleep. She's really not. Hello. What are you doing? Are you going belly up? No. Should we get up? Come on then. Let's go have Dinians. Let's go have cheese. Or walkie. Oh, she must be really tired. You need to be brushed, Missy. You're a little rug. Oh. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday. Yes. Ignore the mess around me. I'm not sure how much you can see, but this is what happens when you have a teacher working from home. So, in terms of updates, I'm still halfway through Visitation. I thought I was going to go much quicker with this book, but I've realised that I unless I take a bath. For some reason these days I don't read. I do think my intention to fight my, come out of my reading slump by reading a short book hasn't necessarily worked, because while this is a short book, I expected this to be something completely different. I thought it was going to be more narrative in style, more like a proper novel. And while this is a novel, it's written in such beautiful, complex way that makes the reading experience, like you can read one page and feel like you've read an entire chapter. But I think after I finish Visitation, I need to read something else. I have right here this one, which I've been putting off for a while, and now you would think, oh, but how are you going to fight a reading slump with 1,000 pages book? The thing is, I can devour confounded books in a matter of a week. So if this one is just like its other books, I think this could easily get me out of my reading slump. I think I need a book that I know is not going to disappoint me. We're going to go on a walk now. I don't know whether I'll take the camera or not. I mean, if it's not raining, why not? But I don't think it's going to be a particularly exciting walk, and I'll catch you later once I do a little bit more reading of Visitation, and hopefully maybe get started with the evening and the morning. Hello, taking a little break from reading to have a hot chocolate, but it's not everyday sort of hot chocolate. The other day I was at the shop, and in the fridge section I found this can of chocolate. Now, if you don't know, this is quite popular in the Netherlands, and I used to live in the Netherlands for about 3 years. I've never seen it in can form. Usually you find in the long life milk section, you can buy by a litre, 2 litres, something like that. But I found this, and the price of this one can is higher than the price of 1 litre that you pay in the Netherlands. But I was feeling quite nostalgic, so I'm like, I'm gonna get myself one. Now, I think in this country they will probably drink it cold, but I'm definitely gonna make it hot, because that's because that's how I used to drink it. So I'm gonna make this and hopefully reminisce about my time living in the Netherlands. So let's make hot chocolate. Satisfying, huh? Oh, Captain Tom is dying.
Sorry?
Yeah, you heard me.
Is Captain Tom dead?
No, but he's very sick. He's in hospital with COVID.
What? No!
Yeah, today.
I haven't heard this news.
Am I drinking Diet Coke at 3 p.m? Yes. Do I need Diet Coke at 3 p.m? Also yes. If the answer wasn't on my face, I spent my night widely awake with the exception of a couple hours. So I'm exhausted. It is, I don't even know when the last clip was, to be honest. It's been an interesting few weeks. A vlog that was supposed to be initially a 2-day vlog, then a weekly vlog, then it sort of morphed into this nearly, I don't know, I probably started about 3 weeks ago. So it's a bit of an interesting mashup of clips. I cannot promise this is something that is making sense. I have yet to look at the clips and edit them, obviously. Let's recap a little bit. It snowed some more. I became a citizen.
I will observe.
I will observe.
its laws faithfully,
its laws faithfully,
and fulfill my duties
and fulfill my duties
and obligations
and obligations
as a British citizen.
as a British citizen.
We welcome you on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, Government, Parliament, the people of the United Kingdom, and the London Borough of Southwark to British citizenship, by which is extended to you the right to participate fully in civic society. We hope that in years to come that you will look back with pride on your decision to become a British citizen. Your talents, your background, your experiences are all very important to us. As a full and equal citizen, we hope that you will help to make the United Kingdom a more prosperous, generous, and open society. May you now find that your life is enriched and that you in turn will enrich the lives of others. Congratulations and well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It means so much to me.
Oh no! It didn't hurt. Wee! Wee! What are you crying for? Mummy's got tears. Mummy, tears, come on. Oh no. Look.
And we put down an offer for a flat and it's been accepted. Whew. So now we hope that everything goes smoothly and it doesn't fall through like last time. Fingers crossed everything goes well. But as you understand, there's been quite a lot of big changes happening in my life. Plus some more that you don't know about yet. Guess what I'm still reading? This tiny book is still the book that I'm reading at the moment. I probably haven't read in a week. I think last time I read was about Saturday last week and it was just a couple of pages, so I was doing something else. I still have about 35 pages to go. Not that much, but you know, decent amount. I'm really hoping I finish this today, even though I might as well fall asleep while I read it in the bathtub. I think I'm definitely going to attempt a bathtub reading situation. I don't know whether I've updated you on this. We've reached a stage where we are right in the middle of the Cold War. The Berlin Wall is still up and we are introduced to this new character who is the Visitor. We know that the Visitor has a connection with previous owners of the land. We don't necessarily know who exactly is connected to the Visitor. I do have the impression it might be somebody who was alive during the Second World War just by looking at her age, because during the Cold War she's in her late 70s. But one or two characters, we don't really know the names of any of the characters, and I think it makes it hard to imagine the person. I don't know why a name makes it so much easier for me to pinpoint who's doing what. But at the same time, I think it all links back to the idea that the story is not about the people, it's about a place and how the place is influenced by the history and how the people are just little parts in the history of a place. Morning everyone. Today is the 16th of February, which means I think I started this vlog 4 weeks ago. This is probably the longest, most, I don't know, discombobulated sort of mix of clips that I've ever put on this channel. So if you didn't like it, I apologize. I did my best. A lot has happened, as I sort of briefly mentioned before. There have been some major life changes happening at the end of last month and the beginning of this month, so please bear with, it's going to get better. I'm actually trying to plan ahead the kind of content I want to make and sort of trying to figure out if I can do some sort of, if I can come up with some sort of schedule in which I post like a reading vlog a week, even though maybe I don't finish the book, but I just show you myself reading some pages and talking about the book and showing you a little bit of daily life, even though, as you probably know, England is still in lockdown, so not much can be done. Anyway, I have obviously finished reading Visitation and I had book club about it, and I have a lot of thoughts. I think the majority of the thoughts have been discussed throughout this reading vlog. So the fact that the narration is very unique, that it doesn't read like the average novel. So the very first line in the book is something that starts describing the environment that we're in, and it gives you a sense of creation almost. It starts like this. Approximately 24,000 years ago, a glacier advanced until it reached a large outcropping of rock that now is nothing more than a gentle hill above where the house stands. From here we see that one thing that I think is really clear throughout the story: the main character is not one of the characters in the story. There are some characters that are more prominent. I think women are probably more prominent than men in the story. But I think the house remains the central character. It's the one and only thing that is always there. Together with the gardener, the house is always there. I think it's a good representation of, the house is almost a metaphor for Germany from the beginning of the 1900s until the end of the 1900s. So it's that piece of land that is a metaphor for the country during a century, and you see the various stages and you see what the country goes through the eyes of the people who inhabit that part of land. Without giving away the ending, I can say that it was very cathartic in a way. The writing style changes immediately for the end. It's the epilogue, yeah, and it's just 2.5 pages, so it's not really long, but it's very powerful. We go from reading the stories of the inhabitants of the place to reading some actions that take place on the land once all the inhabitants are no longer there. It was so powerful as an ending, and also, as I mentioned, a stark contrast to the reading style that we had experienced until then. It was almost clinical in a way, and yeah, I think very representative of a period in history where things needed to change, whether people wanted it or not. It had come to that part of history which is inevitable. It happens cyclically. History needs to change in order to continue, and I think that's the key message of the book. Everything changes, and while things get destroyed, the key core of the substance doesn't get destroyed, which is very philosophical in a way. But yeah, so that was Visitation by Jenny Erpenbeck, translated from the German by Susan Bernowski. Excellent job of translation, excellent job of writing it. Really enjoyed it. Do pick it up. And well, this finally leads me to the end of this vlog. So if you stuck around throughout the entire vlog, thank you so much for doing that, because I know it probably wasn't that easy to follow. If you are new to the channel, thank you very much for watching. My name is Federica and I make videos here hopefully more regularly than this. And I talk about books.